Imagine if leadership and development was a uniting factor for people towards a certain achievement. When people set aside their political differences and affront a cause that will benefit everyone.
What does Omuntu Wawansi see as development in it?
We have the only international airport in this area.
There is no way we can underlook issues of health.
Who is
the problem now?
That is politics.
Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. as we discuss matters in Entebbe, the first Uganda's colonial capital, and what it deserves. Well, a very good morning and thank you for joining us on Entebbe today, the 27th of April 2024. It's a beautiful Saturday and of course many things happening through the week, but also honored to have another time to come here and discuss matters that we think are very important. And today the topic will be diverse, but the most interesting is speaking about the tourism industry that now has gone to a low season. A low season is a season when we do not have many tourists coming to the country, but want to discuss and dissect what really can we do as a country, given the potential. We know that tourism is part of the industries that are leading in earning the country foreign exchange. So we want to discuss how really this can be overturned, and in a low season we still have some tourists coming into the country. With me in the studio is I don't know how best I can introduce you because I've seen you do a lot of things. But first and foremost, I have Yampa Abraham, so popularly known as Yampa. I don't know why that name is the most spoken about and all. But Yampa, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and say good morning to our audience.
Good morning, viewers, and happy weekend.
Okay.
I'm happy to be here.
Okay, also on my immediate right is a renowned writer for Next Media, Nile Post, I can say, and the rest. But Lawrence Mushabe, a pleasure to have you also on the show.
I'm also glad to be hosted again, Ivan. Thank you so much, and also thank you, our viewers.
Okay, we'll also be joined by Amos Wekesa, who is not in the country, is in Tanzania, but also be joining us to give his insight on how we should progress and how this should be handled later on in the day. But I will quickly start with you, Yampa. Yampa, it's been a season for Uganda. It's a growing industry, I can say. Our tourism is not so much into the limelight of where we want it, but it's now a low season. For purposes of our audience understanding what really this means, what do you have to say about the low season?
The low season is a season, like in tourism, people see tourism and people, those who have invested in tourism may not understand. I'll give it a history. Why does it become a low season? Because we practically depend on the summer or the times when tourists move out from their countries, the source countries, that is the Western world, coming here. It is a colonial setting, it's a colonial thing, because what really happens is that I don't see why we should depend on summer in Europe. And because the colonialists were using the tourism here to just see animals. We have more than animals. We have culture. This is the most vibrant time. The wildlife now is so good. Yes, in summer the wildlife is there. It is a dry season, wet season mixed. In winter, when we have, when it is winter in Europe, here we don't have winter. Here we have a wet season and rain season.
Yes.
It is all hot, it is all warm. So basically tourists should be coming all the time.
Okay, but before I let Mushabe come in, I don't know. Do you think as a country we can do something to see that even this time we can attract a few tourists coming in the country?
Just erase the question mark. I don't know what is there. I don't know what is in us. In Uganda, everything is done individually. Even when you become a director of a public institution or a minister or what, you still do things individually. It is common to find somebody replacing another person in office and either erasing all what the other person had built on, or the other person going with everything that he had worked with. This is what I think. Because I don't see a country with UTB, Uganda Wildlife Authority, with the Association of Uganda Tour Operators and all that, and you find that it is Amos going out to market, then you find Barbara Dasso going to market, and then you find who will say individual companies. Everybody is going to market individually. We don't market Uganda as a country.
And Lawrence, when we say a low season, I know you have also written about tourism, but what's your take on this? Should it be an area you think as a country we need to work on, maybe to overturn the expectations?
Thank you so much, Ivan. And once again, I'm so happy to be hosted again. Speaking about tourism in Uganda, it is something that that has been, you know, on our fingertips recently and even currently. I remember even last time we were hit by the COVID-19, and it's been just a journey to recover from the other effects. But in the country, most especially Uganda, where we know tourism is you know, taking the biggest stake and also contributing to the country's GDP, we never thought of having such seasons in most times like currently, where we see people are recovering. Uganda is you know, having a lot to attract people.
Are you in any way trying to say that it is us that have not done the best of what we're supposed to do to show the potential of what people can do? Even in the low season, someone can come to the country and have something to do. Is that what you're trying to say?
Absolutely. I even give you an example. There is somewhere we had a topic. Actually, I think it was last week. There is somewhere, I don't know exactly, I don't want to mention the national park, where we got a report.
I think we'll just hold it there. We're joined by Amos Wekesa, who is the top chief of Great Lakes Safaris. And Amos, we're glad to have you join us on phone. We know you're not in the country.
Thank you so much, Ivan. It's been a while.
Yeah, we understand you're in Tanzania, but we are giving insights on the low season as called in the tourism language. And so we are asking, what does the low season project, and what does it tell us to do as a country, and as far as how we want to also project our interest in pushing the tourism industry?
I think first of all, we should all appreciate that Uganda has never been in a high season. If you look at the statistics for 2023 and the statistics of the government itself, out of all Europe, combined with Middle East, combined with China, combined with Japan, and the whole of the US, Uganda only had 72,000 people combined. And if you compare it to Kenya, the period they had 245,000 from the US alone. So we lost it. Now, when we say that, you can look at a company like Great Lakes Safaris, which is fairly a big company. I can assure you that this month we only have 2 trips, which we can't even look after 10% of our total cost, including salaries this month. But also because a number of factors. We don't have a marketing budget that is focused to bringing in business in tourism. Whatever has happened by chance. A few individuals that put out adverts here and there, but there's no efforts that we can talk about. Now, even with that, you still have a low season. So even if we reduce the rates of this accommodation we are looking after, without having resources to market, it actually means nothing.
Amos, maybe before your next statement, it's where I was going to. I was thinking, as a fraternity, couldn't this be the time when you think maybe the Ministry of Tourism should maybe cut down the cost of the gorilla tracking permits, and we have more people now interested in coming to the country, and sorts as a way of boosting and attracting more numbers?
So that's a good idea. The challenge with the good idea is that, look, Uganda is beautiful, but the world doesn't know. So if you reduce the rates of the gorilla permits to even $100, if the world doesn't know, no one's going to come. And I think that's the basic line. For as long as the country does not appreciate the fact that we need to position the country, that doesn't mean much. I can assure you that Uganda is beautiful, and I can assure you that our costs are not as high as Tanzania. But if you come here during the low season like this month, it has probably 100 times more business than our highest season as a country. Why? Because the world knows about Tanzania. They're putting in resources, the same as Kenya, the same as Rwanda. So I think as a country, the tactic for reducing rates only applies to people who have ability to say we have reduced rates and able to disseminate that information to the consumers, but we don't.
And Amos, also another thing I may want you to say. Would you think one maybe it's true for one to say there is individual marketing in the country where we do not see the fraternity for tourism? You see, Amos maybe is in Tanzania to talk about Great Rex safaris, or Uganda partly, and somebody else has gone somewhere in German and the rest of other countries. But the efforts for us to put together and see that the benefit of having tourists come here is a whole, not individual.
Yes. Yeah, the trickle-down effect of what efforts I put in. That if that guy was going to China, that one was the guy whose eggs are being eaten when the tourists come to Uganda does not know that we put in efforts. The guy whose coffee is taken does not know we're involved. The guy whose matoke is eaten, the guy whose petrol station is used for fuel, they do not know that we're involved in this whole game. Now, those individual efforts can never match efforts for countries like Rwanda, for example, where you are on Arsenal T-shirt, you're in Bayern Munich, you're on PSG. You can't compete with those people if you're putting in nothing.
Now, how should we do this? Amos, it's a low season, but how do you think this should be now handled? Because you partly play a role in the sector.
Well, I think first of all, thank you for bringing this topic up. And like I've just said, it does not matter how much. Let me also tell you that all these entities need money to run. Even Uganda Life Authority earns money from 5 national parks to look after 22 game reserves and national parks combined. So money must be put in for us to get returns.
Also, I don't know if my colleague Lawrence is a writer with the Nile Post, and also, do you have any question for Amos before maybe we can let him go?
Amos, we thank you so much for your views. I had one question.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Recently, we saw a topic. Actually, it was brought up by one of the legislators on the floor of Parliament, saying that there is a certain national park we would not love to mention, where a tourist, actually they boarded back because the game park didn't have a Wi-Fi to ease in the internet and whatever. Should we say that some national parks are also, not up to the standards of, welcoming in tourists, or those who have arrived would wish to come
for
back
them to appreciate?
Yes.
I think first of all, we need to all appreciate the fact that as a country, we do not have money to actually invest. Even the money that you see being squandered, being spoiled, or put in certain things is money actually borrowed. When we borrow the money, we're not putting it in the areas that can actually bring in the resources like tourism, like export-based agriculture. We're not doing that as a country. And because we're not doing that, we will never have money to actually invest in real infrastructure. Today, I was just telling a few young people, and I was saying, guys, listen, when URA collects about 25 trillion shillings, almost 19 trillion goes into debt prepayment. And then if our budget for 2024-2025 is 58 trillion shillings, we will have to borrow again over 33 trillion to actually just look after salaries and look after the nice cars we need, but we're not putting the resources towards what we should do. So we need to put a lot of money in positioning the country such that the country can make money to look after its infrastructure, look after the servants, civil servants, look after government. That's what we need.
Okay, I also have Yampa is also a tourist guide in the studio. Yampa, you have any question for Amos before let him go?
Good evening, Amos.
Good evening.
It's not like a question, I just want clarification. I was talking to someone and I discovered that we only market individually. In Uganda, cooperative or cooperating or working together is not a game that we understand. We understand the game of divide and rule, and we are very good at it. Don't you think if we all came out, Otto is there is now Yoto, there is so many associations of tourist guides, there's association of Uganda hotel owners and maybe petrol station owners. If we made something like that, couldn't we just go out and market Uganda? Can it really work?
No, it cannot work. That only works when the private sector is strong. The reason why the private sector in Uganda is so disorganized is because it's poor. If we started marketing, if the private sector does not have money to put any advert on Arsenal, does not have ability to put anything on CNN, does not have that money. It's a poor private sector. Now, when the country has, when the government plays its role, government's responsibility is to create an enabling environment. That is doing the massive marketing. Then, as the individuals go and actually hit on the deals. Now, after we hit on the deals for so many years, then private sector will grow big enough to be able to put resources together, concentrate on actually doing business instead of concentrating on fighting each other. But for as long as people are poor, the first thing they do is fight each other, divide each other. That's what poverty does. The only way out of that is making sure that the government puts resources to position the don't have time to fight each other. I don't, for example, I can't say I'm rich, but I'm at a stage where I don't have time to fight anyone. You know what I'm talking about? Because there's work for me to do. When Uganda's not working, I'm now pushing Tanzania, trying to make money work, you know? So I do not have time to do that because that is needed to be done.
Okay, Amos, I know you're busy, we're short of time, maybe we'll let you go. But then before you go, we've heard that soon the e-free system for payment towards the guides and the rest will also be implemented within the industry. What's your take on this, if maybe you can answer?
Well, the idea is, I think you've heard, Ivan, that hotels pay more than 13, 14 taxes already. And all these taxes does not come back to support or help them. It is not taxes that is put in to actually increase the amount of business coming into Uganda. So if you want to tax them more, you should expect that more Ugandans are going to leave the country trying to find opportunities elsewhere. That's what I see.
Well, I think for time reason, Amos, we will let you continue with the rest of what you're doing. But thank you so much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ivan, for calling me.
Okay, please. So you've had the submissions from Amos, and I want to start from right where you asked. He said that the industry collects a lot of money to government, and government is proud to say that they collect a lot of money from the tourism sector. But how much is being remitted to support it is a question he has raised. He said, for example, over 50 trillions that is going to be spent, but most of that money is from debts and the rest. But we're looking at how we can support communities. First of all, the communities that host these tour game parks that you take tourists to, but also facilitating the other things that drive the industry. For example, I said when you take tourists to Mogahinga, when you make a stop and someone buys mangoes and tomatoes, you're supporting them. But they do not know that Yamba has been on internet trying to tell these people how Uganda is beautiful, and they've chosen to come. And that's the game we're talking about, Yamba.
Okay, I repeat this, and I'm going to say it, and I've said it several times. We, as Ugandans, don't believe in working together. That is number one. Number two, we also have a feeling that there should be someone doing something for us. We all know the challenges the government is facing. Okay, let's leave the government. The people who are in offices.
The policymakers for
the policymakers and maybe the people they put there to enact the policies. We know their shortfall. They don't have the information. Maybe they have it, but they don't know where to go. And then we have this nepotism thing. I call my brother to be here to, pull things together. We're a poor nation.
Okay, I will hold you there. Rollins, Amos talked about something that is real pertinent, but having, first of all, a policy. For example, the industry is returning money or is collecting money to return to the government. For example, we say about 21 trillion shillings. But where you speak by policy in parliament, you say if we're able to collect 21 trillion shillings, at least you'll give us 9 or a certain percentage remitted to support the industry. Do you see that as an ideal?
It is very clear, but like we said, and also Amos said, that we have got a challenge, first of all, in terms of policy making, but also partly our people who are supposed to do the policies. But
we have UTB, we have the Ministry of Tourism, the Mother Ministry of Tourism itself. We have all and the rest, and these people have technocrats that can come up with this, because partly I talked to somebody. I said I went to Queen Elizabeth National Park. I don't want to say Queen Elizabeth. Maction Falls. It's one of the hot springs for, the hot spots for the country. Mm-hmm. But when you go to the host communities, they have the poorest schools, they have the poorest health facilities. So how there can you convince someone that you should not kill a lion because it brings us money, when someone is saying that I can kill the same lion and I also get about 5,000 USD?
This is what I was talking about, cooperating. As much as the government is not doing much, I still have a very big faith in all of us coming together, the players, to do something. Because the poorest communities in Uganda, the poorest, you can see the poorest, are around conserved areas. Reserves, forest reserves, national parks, national reserves, that's where you're going to find the poorest communities. First of all, they have no means of leaving that place to go somewhere else. That is number one. They are not educated to know what is there. The least they enjoy is wild meat. They think that is the end of the world or the best of the world. We don't employ them. We don't encourage them to do that. That is what government should be doing. The ministry, plus UA, plus NFA, plus all those guys. Yes, they are trying, but the input is minimal. The resources are meager. So the private sector is small, is poor. But when we bring me, if I was a player like Amos or everybody, I'm a poor man. But me, you and everybody, 100 people, with 2 million shillings, that is a lot of money. And if we put it somewhere with one spirit, it can change Uganda.
Lawrence, I will give you maybe about 1 minute before we go for a commercial break. But what he's saying is that the lack of intellectual engagement, corporate engagement, for example, tour operators, first of all, coming together and say we are now here for this cause. This is our policy statement on paper before the Ministry of Tourism or UTB, and this is what we want, be given the fact that we are running lodges in these facilities. We are, trying to employ some of these young people to do some work and also earn a living. But also the government itself coming up with, projects, coming up with the things that the communities can appreciate, to also believe that the game parks that people or tourists are going to are protected and they can live with them.
And me, I will first put the challenge on Uganda Tourism Board. We should have ways, or we should find ways to make sure that we involve the local tourists, I may say like that, or tour operators. Like you said, if we had these local people, first of all, to engage in these tour or local operators, tour operators, to find out, to first give their solutions, find ways how they can also boost, but internally, before we go to, because these are the people that form the Uganda Tourism Board. Uganda should be first given the priority, and the Ugandans, by the way, to give their ways, to give their opinions, to give what they feel. And when you incorporate the ideas, I guess there should be something that is
okay. Lawrence Mushabe and Yampa, you will hold it there, and we'll now take a very quick commercial break. For those of you watching us online, Media Lab, Entebbe Post, and the rest of other online platforms, we really thank you. But the conversation will still continue just after the short commercial break. We come or return to tell you now, where is the tourist guide in this low season? We'll return shortly.
Entebbe, the land of freshness, fresh breeze, fresh water, fresh weather, and fresh foods. Entebbe is not just the gateway to Uganda, but also fresh foods supplied from 81 Sese Islands in Lake Victoria. Fresh foods from the garden to Chitoro Market and straight to your home. Visit Chitoro Market in Entebbe, Uganda's first capital for all your fresh foods.
We'll be back from that commercial break. Just before we went for a break, Amos had just given his insight on the low season that has really grappled the industry as always, but also trying to devise means and insights of how we can overcome this. But before that, we also had Yampa in the studio. Yampa is also a tourist guide and also giving his insights, and as well Lawrence Mushabe, who is the writer with the Next Media Nile Post, also giving his submission. But also Yampa, just before we went for a break, we were talking about the low season. Now we want to understand, why is the tourist guide at this time, the low season, when he doesn't have what to do, I would want to say, because if that is his main job of...
Thank you. His main job. First of all, the tourists were not as many as expected after. There are so many tour guides who never got a chance of really working in this high season that just ended.
Amos didn't call it even high season because he says our numbers didn't even make
a
quarter of what some other countries like Rwanda and Kenya did.
Sometimes I feel I wish I was up there and I had the opportunity to just go there and show people, because the few people I meet out there, the times I've moved, you talk about Uganda, everybody's.
But also close to Kenya and Rwanda when you're taking these tourists here. What is the experience like when you drive your Land Cruiser and you're in one of the national parks?
You see, one of the most blessed countries in the world is Uganda, and I think that blessing is making us behave the way we do. Rwanda is not even, you can't give it a fraction of what Uganda is. Forget about dirtiness and the cities being clean and the good roads, what. But now when you come to Kenya, Kenya is, I don't know, out of 10, what Kenya has is like 1 out of 10.
But it's beating by numbers.
No, it is beating by media, by presenting. It is Africa. It is East Africa. Actually, when they say East Africa, they think it is Kenya. Kenya does not advertise as Kenya. East Africa, come to East Africa, Uganda, for safari. When you talk about East Africa, which town? Nairobi, Nakuru, Naivasha, what? Like, no.
It's just like how they're promoting Naivasha with the safari rally. Everyone knows about Naivasha. Yes.
So you talk about Uganda. Who is Uganda? Is it a town?
Are you trying to say they think we're a fraction of Kenya?
Then somebody will remember and talk about Amin. That is where it comes in. So I still believe that Amin played a very big role. Or whoever was marketing Amin negatively. Because this is what I believe. Because the people who stayed here never saw Amin as bad as the rest of the world talks about him. So those people who did that campaign, to decampaign Amin and paint that ugly picture, where are they today? Where is that effort that cannot be put into Uganda today to go? Even when we, the thing is, I was laughing at parliamentarians, of all these problems we have, they have time to talk about bedroom issues and discuss and reach as well.
And they leave issues that are concerning Ugandans.
Why don't they put this effort?
Somebody was saying they want a saloon at Parliament for women members of Parliament always.
Then someone talks about homosexuality. No, you use that effort. Use that input, use that effort.
But also I'll take you back to the question. Where are the tourist guides?
This is what I'm trying to tell you. You look at me, look at the emotion. I'm happy. That is where the tourist guide who is becoming a border rider, that is a lucky one. Because they did get the money. Now, we also have a challenge to be making that money. We do not have circles, strong, ingrained circles where we would be saying, we have worked, let us put these resources together and invest somewhere else where we are going to get money in the low season. We lack that element of cooperating. We need to cooperate. We need to have circles. Even when you bring up such a topic, I'm a mobilizer. I brought that topic amongst my friends and everybody has downplayed it. Then I went back in the background to ask, and the whole thing is about trust. In Uganda, nobody trusts anyone.
But also, before me, then, this is the low season, as we call it. How are you using it? First of all, for benchmarking and also for
another thing that I've seen as a mobilizer, as a person who has been in the industry for quite some time, I've known that we are benefactors of the environment. So I'm mobilizing all tour guides. Me, as a mobilizer, and the rest of the tour guides who are into it. I think there's other forums are doing it, but specifically Entebbe tour guides, we are mobilizing for a plastic-free environment. We want to go on with this mobilization, and if possible, spread it wherever. But we need to add in.
But you are broke people. You are broke people in the low season. Where are you getting money to do the mobilization?
The moment you accept that you are broke, you remain broke.
I may have used the wrong word, but what I'm trying to project or to say is, you're in a season where you don't have money because you're not working.
Yes, but now we are using our knowledge and capacity. We are calling on entities. Like in Entebbe, there is CAA, there is UWEC, there is NARO, there is all those entities out there. We're asking them, if you have anything, join us. Let's go for a cleanup. We need a plastic-free environment. We need to plant more trees. The recent report that came out is like we have lost almost 3/4 of the forest cover we had in the last 10 years. So we need to replant trees. The campaigns have to go on. Where do the trees go? We use them for cooking. Charcoal, school firewood. So we need to make schools have woodlots These are campaigns that we should go into now. A clean environment, because I don't know whether you experienced the latest heat which was here. It was so bad. And the effect is that there's limited forest to clean out that one. The challenge, another challenge is that people are cutting down indigenous trees, planting eucalyptus and pine. The ability to sequester carbon and heat out of the environment is limited compared to indigenous tree.
But you see, Yampa, I want to just cut you short in your submission now. We have seen the policies come through, but you remember last time when they wanted to ban the plastic polythene bags, you remember that debate as well. I think there was also a penalty that was set for someone who throws without but all these things have always been shattered. I don't know by who. I think the people who debate the subject and come up with the policies are victims themselves. That's why they are never implemented. I don't know. I will seek maybe clarity from that. But your take on that, Mushaba? We have all these policies coming every time here and there. You could be here and also you're a victim yourself. But what's your take on this?
But what I know, Ugandans are also not very simple people. What I'm sure of.
What do you mean not simple?
There are a lot of policies, a lot of frameworks that have been designed to help Ugandans, actually Ugandans to benefit, but they refuse to implement. And once you can't, but what is I give you an example of I don't want to talk about the IFRIS tax that has been going on, but recently URA came out and said you people have been frequently paying IFRIS, even if you speak a lot now, but you've been paying. Just we changed in the design and told you how it should be done. But it has been actually even benefiting you and helping you. But coming back here, Ivan, I want to make it clear that it is very unfortunate because recently the tourism sector has been employing over 1.6 million people in Uganda. But it's hard to see my colleagues saying now people are broke on the road. But we pray things go on very well. But what me personally, what I should say is there should be things that should be done by these people, like I said at first. Tour operators should be now brought on board by some of these stakeholders, including UA, including UTB, to ensure that they design at least new frameworks to also benefit these people. Like we said, if there is a very hard moment like this one, it should be the high time when these organizations should be involving these people, actually also to help them in one way or the other. Then secondly, there should be new improvements, developments from also our own local national parks. If, like we said at first, if the game park or the national park is not having some of these simple attractions or things that should be used by the tourists, including internet, electricity,
those are the things that should be for free. Like
okay, but I think I want to cut the two of you short. This is what I said, that what is the policy statement by these sector players? For example, you are collecting a lot of money from tourism and remitting it to government. But what is your bargaining power to say that, okay, if we give you 50 millions, can you return to us 20 so that we do some of... Because Yampa, you said nothing can be done, and Amos also said it, without money. But I personally love paying tax. I don't want to dodge. That's why even when I'm driving reckless on the road, I want to pay for a fee. Because I am reckless, next time it gives me, you get. But also having a bargaining state of creating a neutral platform to see that all of these engagements are being done. The tourist guides, I know, are very willing to pay tax for if it is properly understood 100%.
As long as...
Yes, I stay in Garuga. Government recently put for us a tarmac road. If they tell me pay 500 shillings to drive on your tarmac road to go to your home, I will pay it because I want good things. But now we are talking about having a stake in the matter where the tourist guides and the tour operators come together to engage UTB as their mother, umbrella, or the mother institution that governs them. But also UTB sees that Ministry of Tourism takes it up to see that it is a low season, but we do not make that cry loud. Like we do something at least.
I would like to say this, and I appeal to UTB if they get a chance and they are seeing. UTB should have a production desk. That production desk should be creating tourist centers outside the normal known UA and other paid centers. Regionally, if possible by every sub-county. That's what I'm saying. These things are going to be very cheap for even locals, for even tourists, so that people can earn money.
Okay. My producer says we have run out of time, but I want to give each one of you at least 15 to 20 seconds to say your parting shots on the show, and I'll start with you, Yampa. Just maybe 20 seconds. What are your parting shots?
The parting shot was a continuation of what I was saying. We need to develop tourist centers outside the traditional ones. Most of the tourist centers we have are colonial centers, where Uganda was number one in the whole region, East and Central. Uganda was number one. It was the number one destination. Would have the biggest. When you go to Masai Mara has got a lot of artificial masts for internet and and telephone. They drew, the Borasas palms in Maction Falls. Those are the masts you find. They are plastic Borasas farms, but to make Mara have the feel of Maction Falls. This is how great Uganda was.
Okay. Lawrence, I also want to give you 15 to 20 seconds. You say your parting shots.
My words would be all stakeholders in Uganda, including the government, including tour guides, including all these relevant stakeholders, UTB. I think we should either, I bring it as an opinion, either we create a committee like you see, the committee on exports headed by Audrey Kruwabogo. I think should we either create the committee to stir up tourism, to go and market it, if it means to go to Europe or the other countries.
But I've seen these trips have been made as several. I think I've seen one.
No, that can be.
I think after COVID there was a team that went to Germany, where if I recall.
There are expos all over the world. There's the Berlin Expo, there's the London. Those expos are there, but I have failed to get the effect of those expos on the Uganda, and a lot of money is spent.
And I've seen people from a country go to attend.
A lot. My friends have gone.
The Dubai Expo, you remember?
Dubai Expo.
I'm told even some cleaners from some institutions went that I don't want to mention their name. Even cleaners went because there was money. So,
you've got
that will wrap it up for now. I want to thank you, the two gentlemen, for really sparing time to come and share with us the insights, Mushabe and then Yampa. I want to thank you. For those of you that have been watching us online, we really thank, and never enough, we continue to thank you for sparing time to listen to us, but also we urge that in case you see some views have been left out, go to our online comment section, put what you think we left out. We're able sometimes to respond online, but for time reasons I want to let the conversation here, and catch us next time, same time, Saturday, 9 to 10 a.m. We like you so much. Come to Entebbe, we have a lot to offer to you. Good morning to you. Imagine if leadership and development was a uniting factor for people towards a certain achievement. When people set aside their political differences and affront a cause that will benefit everyone.
What does Omuntu Wawansi see as development in it?
We have the only international airport in this area.
There is no way we can underlook issues of health.
Who is the problem now?
That is politics.
Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. as we discuss matters in Entebbe, the first Uganda's colonial capital, and what it deserves.